Namaste friends. In the last few months, I did some videos for other channels like uh, Gayatri Devi Mishra's alternate media channel, Sri Ayya's P Guru's channel, etc. But I did not do videos on my channel where I make predictions and give detailed astrological analysis. So I will try to do a detailed video today and cover a few current topics of interest. These are the topics I want to cover today. Some astrologers are cautioning about India's Mars Dasa that is about to start, and also some astrologers are cautioning about danger to Sri Narendra Modi ji in April. So I will weigh in on both of them, and I will also share my outlook on Israel-Hamas war in Gaza, and I will talk about US election in 2024, November 2024, and India election in April, May, June 2024. And one small word here, astrology is not a deterministic science, it's a probabilistic science. It basically shows what kind of circumstances different people have to face based on their own destiny coming from previous lives. But based on the efforts of the free will, the results can change. So because of that, nothing is deterministic, everything is probabilistic, but sometimes probability is so high that it's almost deterministic. So I will make my call based on the current information, but closer to the elections in both cases. Once the dates are known, or in this case, or candidates are known in this case, I will make a more confident call, but I will make my initial call today. Some astrologers are cautioning about India's Mars Dasha based on the calculations. It starts around this time, and Mars is the planet of war, conflicts, aggression, etc. And in India's chart, he's not a good planet. He's in the second house, giving Kujadosham, second house, and he's the seventh lord of death. So he shows he's a Maraka. So Maraka means death-giving planet. So this is a very unstable period for India, a lot of losses, etc. That is the concern expressed by some astrologers. But my opinion is, my firm opinion is, you can't use dasas for nations. The standard dasa, this is based on a Paramayish of 120 years. And that 120 years of Paramayish, which means max longevity of human beings, is divided into various phases and subphases. But countries don't have the same Paramayish. See, for example, animals, if you take elephants, dogs, horses, etc., rishis have given different numbers. Instead of 120 years, it will be a different number for them. Number of years is the Paramayish. So you compress the 120 years to that number, and you compute Vimshotri Dasa, the Dasa for those animals like that. That is what rishis taught. But they did not teach the Paramayish of countries. And the logic used by some people is that nations are made of human beings. So you compute the Paramayish of a nation is the same as the Paramayish of a human being. But the thing is, take a country like US. It has been in existence for about 250 years, almost 250 years. That's much larger than 120 years. In general, countries may have a much longer Paramayish. We don't know what it is because rishis haven't taught it. And one more thing, if you take a human being, human beings are made of cells. The cells live much shorter time. So the Paramayish of a cell is much shorter than the Paramayish of a human being. So what does that establish? The Paramayish of a component need not be the same as the Paramayish of the whole that is made of those components. So saying that countries are made up of human beings, so they have the same Paramayish, is not logical. Human beings are like cells and countries are like a human being. So they have a much longer Paramayish. We don't know what it is. So if you use the right number, it may not be Mars Dasha, it may be Venus Dasha, it may be Sun Dasha. So let's basically ignore this. You can use transits, you can use annual solar chart, annual lunar return chart, etc. for countries, and you can make predictions, but you can't use Dasha. So forget about India's Mars Dasha. In general, the whole world is going through a period of strife, increased conflicts and struggles, etc. This whole decade is like that. So that way, India will also face it to some extent, but India is, in my assessment, better off than much of the world in this decade of chaos and turbulence. And is there a danger to Sri Narendra Modi ji in the April time period? because there are 4 planets in Pisces, and there is a total solar eclipse, and that is happening in his 6th house of enemies, accidents, etc., diseases, etc. So there is a concern. But the thing is, my assessment is it is not a physical danger, it is not an attempt on his life or something like that. And even if there is one, I don't expect it to succeed based on his transits, dasas, annual charts. He will be fine. He will come out successfully. He will overcome any challenges to him physically, but more likely, rather than physical, this will be a political effort to malign him, to make sure that he doesn't win the re-election in 2024, because he's been in power for 10 years, and there are strong forces both within India and outside of India that want to avoid his coming back. So there'll be a strong, and April is a very unstable period for the whole world, and India also, particularly India. So there can be a lot of chaos, there can be conflicts, there can be riots, and there can be some new tensions politically, particularly the first half of April. But the thing is, I don't think all those efforts to destabilize the country and the electoral process will be successful. So there is some concern. I understand where the astrologers are coming from, but I'm not worried that there is a mortal danger to see Narendra Modi ji in the April time period. Regarding the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza, as I said on Twitter, as soon as the war broke out, it's likely to be a very long war. It's not likely to end very quickly. Of course, there can be some breaks. There can be a ceasefire or truce announced now and then, but it will only last days, weeks, and max months, but it will not be permanent. So I'm afraid that this war will grow over the coming months and years, and next several years are problematic for Israel. They show being muddied in a conflict, being meshed in a major conflict, and the conflict growing with time, not reducing. So apart from Hamas, other nations and organizations may get involved in the conflict with Israel, and it may become a bigger war, and it may become a Middle East wide war over the coming months and a year or two. So I'm afraid the outlook is not really great. The Ukraine, just like the Ukraine war in Eurasia region, this will go on for a long time, and this will be another theater. Ukraine is one theater, Middle East will be another theater, and the third theater in the Southeast Asia around Taiwan area will develop closer to 2030, and it will all culminate in a major war in 2030. That is my assessment. So I'm afraid this will go on forever. There is no quick relief. As far as US election is concerned, before talking about Biden and Trump, I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, who has excited a lot of Indian Americans. He's a young Indian American, America-born Indian origin person. He's a businessman turned politician. He is known for his eloquence and his intellect, and he's a Republican candidate. And as I mentioned, I tweeted or said in a video last year that August, September was basically his peak, and after that he will go down. And particularly after January, when the primary start, he will just fizzle away. And that is indeed what happened. After the first debate in August, he had some recognition, and then lot of support started increasing, but it basically plateaued. And in January, after the first caucus, he dropped out. But the thing is, what excites some Indian Americans is he was seen on the campaign trail with Donald Trump, who seemed to like Vivek Ramaswamy. So some people are speculating that he will be the VP nominee that Donald Trump will pick. And looking at his chart, I do see political potential. He can hold important political positions in the coming years, but in the current election cycle, I don't see him becoming the vice president. I don't even see him being picked as the vice presidential nominee. So it's unlikely that in the July convention he will be picked by Donald Trump as the vice presidential nominee. But he will, during this year, he will have some visibility, some prominence, some publicity, etc. But I don't think it rises to the level of being the VP nominee or VP elect. I don't see him becoming the vice president in November 2024. And regarding the chart of Donald Trump and Biden, both of them are very weak. And probably Biden is the only one Trump can beat, and Trump is the only one Biden can beat. And 70% of America doesn't want a Biden-Trump rematch, and they don't want either of them to be the president. But the way America's primary system works, the extremes in both the parties drive who wins the primaries, and then general election, a lot more people will vote. So it's an interesting and flawed process. So Biden is running away with the Democratic primary, and Trump is running away with the Republican primary. And I will not rule out the possibility of somebody else being picked by either party, or perhaps even both parties, as the nominee. Come July or August, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party may pick somebody else in consultation with Trump and Biden, as preferred by them. They may nominate somebody else on their behalf, and they may run. So in November, some new name may become the president. That's a possibility. But if it is between Trump and Biden, if it is not somebody else, let me weigh in. As far as Trump is concerned, the current year is till his birthday in June. This is not a bad year for him. This is a pretty decent year for him. But in the April-May time period, he may face some setbacks. And Nikki Haley is hanging around. She has a pretty good chart. She has some potential, but I don't see Trump's bad time starting till June. I mean, some setbacks will start in April, May itself, but real bad time not till June. So that's too late for Nikki Haley to hang in and clinch the primary. So there is some chance that Nikki Haley may beat Trump in the primaries, but that is not strong. I expect that Trump will win the nomination, but he may nominate somebody else on his behalf. That is one possibility. That may happen in the July time period. After June, after his birthday, one more thing, his trials. He's lost a few civil trials where he is ordered to pay more than $500 million in various fines. And there are a few more civil cases filed by people who suffered in January 6 riot, January 6 capital takeover. And there are some civil cases, and he may be liable for more damages over the coming months. But the thing is, more importantly, there are four different criminal cases. Out of those, one is going to go to trial on March 25. Unfortunately for him, it comes just before the eclipse, total solar eclipse in his 8th house of setbacks. So April can be a very problematic time period for him, April-May time period. But the thing is, that is the weakest case. Out of the four cases, the case that goes to trial on March 25 is the weakest case. But a stronger case, the January 6 case, the election subversion case, that may go to trial in the April, May, June time period. If the Supreme Court doesn't take his immunity appeal, presidential immunity appeal, that may go to trial. So I expect that in the April, May, June time period, there will be a case that will land him in serious trouble. In the June 2024 to June 2025 year, based on his annual chart, there is a chance of conviction, strong chance of conviction actually. The 12th house of Bandhana, imprisonment, has 4 planets in it, including his own lord and Lagna lord. So there is a good chance that after June, within that year, he may be convicted, he may even spend some time in prison. By the way, 12th house can also show leaving the country, etc. So that's also a possibility. But the key is, after June, there will be some serious setbacks, and in spite of his primary victories, he may prefer to nominate somebody else on his behalf. That is a possibility. But in case he runs himself, I don't see him becoming the president in November 2024. The chance is extremely small, so I don't think he will be the president. And as far as Biden is concerned, I did not really look at his 2024 chances earlier because I expected him to suffer in 2022-23 period. The annual chart of 2022-2023 and also the eclipses in the November 2022 period were very problematic for him. I expected serious health setbacks to him. And who knows, there may have been some setbacks that may have been kept secret. We do see some deterioration in his overall state of being currently. Uh, but the thing is, now that he seems to be the Democratic nominee, I looked at his current year's charts, and if it is Biden versus Trump, I expect that Biden will win. He has a pretty good chance of being re-elected in November 2024. Again, once I know who his opponent is, because it may not be Trump, once I know who the opponent is, I will compare the strengths in the opponent chart and Biden chart, because that may be stronger than Biden's chart. But compared to Trump, Biden has a much stronger chance of being elected in November 2024. So if it is those two, my prediction is that Biden will be re-elected, even though it seems crazy right now. Recently, there was a special counsel's report that he's an elderly, well-meaning gentleman with failing memory. So there was a really damning report on him from the Department of Justice. So he looks very vulnerable right now, and it seems like a lot of Democratic circles are very nervous about him rerunning. There are speculations that somebody else maybe nominated instead of him. By the way, one name that's doing rounds is Gavin Newsom. I don't see him being the president at all. So it's not Gavin Newsom. And another name is Michelle Obama. I don't know her chart, but that's a possibility. But I don't want to make a call until we have more data. But definitely it's not Gavin Newsom. But the thing is, even though it seems crazy right now, Biden has a decent chance of being re-elected, definitely much better than Trump. So if he stays and Trump is on the other side, Biden will be re-elected. And as far as Kamala Harris is concerned, it does not seem like the same chance that I see in Biden's chart of continuing the power is not visible in Kamala Harris' chart. So I will not be surprised if Kamala Harris is dumped and Biden picks another running mate for his re-election campaign in August 2024. So that is basically what I can say about the US election at this time. I will weigh in more as more data emerges. Mainly, especially April is a really chaotic month. So after April, May, we will know more. And definitely after June birthday of Trump, there will be more clarity on the Republican side. As far as Indian election is concerned, I said earlier that after September 2023, the coming year is a great year for Modi ji. The previous year was a mixed year. There could be some setbacks. Indeed, there was Karnataka loss during that year. But I said that after September 2023, there will be great successes. Indeed, they won in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, some important states in North India. But the thing is, when I took a closer look, and particularly compared with the charts, annual charts of Rahul Gandhi, I still think that Narendra Modi ji has a better chance of winning in mid 2024. But the thing is, Rahul Gandhi, even though his chart overall from long term perspective doesn't have a lot of potential to be prime minister, the short term charts are pretty decent. And Narendra Modi's chart, even though they have strength, there is also some weakness. So overall, to cut it short, my assessment is BJP coalition, NDA, will win the election, but it's not going to be a runaway win like 400 seats, 350 seats, like that, as people are expecting. Because after the Ayodhya Pran Pratishtha, there has been a lot of euphoria, and lot of leaders are trying to come from the Congress party to BJP party, and the INDIA alliance of Congress shows some weakness, like some parties are contesting against Congress in their own state. So given the lack of their unity and all these signs, there's a lot of euphoria in India's right wing, and people are speaking as though this is a done deal. Narendra Modi is guaranteed to win this re-election for his third term, and there's no chance at all of Congress winning. But the thing is, see, as I said earlier, astrology is a probabilistic science. It's not a deterministic science. I can't say what will happen. But the thing is, Narendra Modi ji coming back to power is a strong possibility. And BJP NDA coalition winning, But with the help of others who will insist on Modi ji being replaced with some other leader like Gadkari or somebody is also a possibility. And Congress winning is also a possibility. Out of this, the strongest possibility is Narendra Modi ji coming back to power. But my overall assessment is, the bottom line is, it will be a closer fought election than people may be anticipating at this time. So, if you are a Congress supporter, my advice is don't give up. Based on all the signs so far, it may seem like Congress is going to be wiped out, but that may not be the case. Congress may actually be pretty competitive in a lot of places. So, don't give up and fight. And if you are a BJP supporter, my message is don't repeat 2004. In 2004, people just assumed with all the India Shining campaign, etc., that Vajpayee ji will come back. But Congress shocked everybody by winning, and they were in power for 10 years. So, if you are a BJP supporter, remember that India is at crossroads. The progress of last 10 years has to be continued. So, this is a very key election. So, fight hard. Do not assume that it is a done deal. Fight hard. There will be some setbacks in April. There will be a lot of headwinds that BJP will have to face because of some disturbances in April time period. Actually, from now onwards till April time period. So fight hard, and also admitting everybody indiscriminately may or may not be helpful. So make sure how you are picking your friends and enemies. Fight very hard. My overall prediction is that Narendra Modi ji will be re-elected, and he will rule India for a few more years as the Prime Minister, but it's not a guarantee, it's not a given. The probability of a closer election is pretty high. So fight hard. Don't take it for granted. Don't be complacent. That is my message for BJP. So my overall assessment is BJP will come back, but it will be a closer election that people may be anticipating right now. So both the sides should fight hard. And of course, once the election date is announced, I can look at the daily charts of Narendra Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, and BJP party and Rahul Gandhi, and I can make a more confident call at this time. At this time, my call is BJP will come back, but it will be closer than people may be thinking. Now, let us see some astrological analysis. In some videos that I did with other channels, I think I talked about Israel war and expected that it will take a long time. And at that time, I think I was using the Lunar New Year chart. Here, for change, let us look at the chart of Israel. This is the Israel formation chart, and this is the data, and this is the chart. Let us look at the 2023 Tajga chart. If you look at the 2023 Tajka chart, you see that there is a Shanichandra Yoga in the 4th house of Sukha, 4th house of comfort, or a sense of having direction. And that basically, the Shanichandra Yoga will give depression, sadness. So there was an unhappy, painful event for the country. And the 6th house of enmity and wars contains Guru Chandala Yoga and also the 8th Lord Mercury. So, and also 7th Lord Venus is in the 8th house, so he's a Marka. So there are some serious negative combinations here, and also in the Navamsa chart, which shows relations with other countries, diplomacy, etc. The 7th Lord Mercury is in the 8th house, and 8th Lord Moon is in the 7th house. So there is a Parivartana, and Rahu is also there. Rahu is the 3rd Lord. So 3rd Lord and 7th Lord together in the 8th house is a Marka combination. And Moon Mercury exchange is another Marka combination. So, and also by the way, Saturn, 3rd Lord in the 2nd, he's a Marka. And he's afflicting Sun here. And Ketu is also there, the 12th Lord. So this 2nd house, 8th house axis contains these 5 planets, and there are various Marka combinations. So, and also Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the 6th house of wars and enmity. So overall, this is not really this is a year of lot of conflicts, wars, etc. Let us see if there is any relief in 2024. If you look at the 2024 May Tajaka chart, You will see that in the Rasi chart, Lagna is strong, but the uh, third Lord Mars is in the second house with Rahu. So that's a Marka combination. And also, Moon, the sixth Lord, is in the sixth house. So, sixth house is pretty powerful. And more importantly, if you look at the Navamsa chart of relations with other countries, you will see that seventh Lord Moon is in the eighth house. Seventh Lord Venus is in the eighth house. So that's a Marka combination. So also third Lord Mercury and the sixth Lord Mercury is in Samsaptaka. So basically sixth and seventh Lords are in Samsaptaka on the eighth house axis. So and Badaka Lord is there and the third Lord in second. By the way, that's another Marka combination. So there are various Marka combinations, and unfortunately it doesn't really seem like a year when hostilities will cease or there will be peace. This is a year of struggle, losses, etc. If you look at the 2025 chart, you see that Lagna, the Rasi chart is not too bad. But the thing is, if you look at the Navamsa chart, 8th Lord Sun and Badaka Lord Ketu are in Lagna, in an inimical sign, and Lagna Lord Saturn is in the 8th house. So Parivartana between Lagna Lord and 8th Lord is not a good thing. And Rahu is the second Lord in the 7th house, he is a Maraka. So this is, though Rasi chart has some promise, the Navamsa chart is pretty problematic here also. If we look at the 2026 chart, you see that in the 8th house of obstacles and setbacks, we have Shani Chandra Yoga. And Chandra is actually in Gandanta here. He's at 27 degree 37 minutes. So Gandanta Chandra. And he's in Manakaraka Sthana. And 7th Lord in 8th is a Marka combination. And in the Navamsa chart, 3rd Lord in the 2nd house, he's a Marka. And and also 3rd Lord in 2nd is in a Samsaptaka with the 2nd Lord. So 3rd Lord and 2nd Lord in Samsaptaka on the 2nd house axis. So there are some serious Marka combinations here also. So overall, the next few years don't really look promising. So even if there is some temporary ceasefire and temporary peace deal where hostilities are stopped for a while, it's unlikely that it will just completely stop. So kind of like the Ukraine war, just as it became a continuous theater of war, I'm afraid the Israel-Gaza war will also be a long war. And also because we see such strong combinations in the Navamsa and Rasi chart over the next few years, it is likely that it will develop into a larger war. Basically, other countries may also be involved, because otherwise, if it is just attacking Gaza or occupying Gaza, it will not take that long. So, most likely, just as for the 2030 war, major war of 2030, we have one epicenter in the Eurasia area, which is basically in the Ukraine area right now, and another one will develop in the Middle East, basically starting from the Gaza war of Israel. And of course there will be a third front in the Southeast Asia, but hopefully that will be closer to 2030, not sooner, not in the immediate future. And let us look at the chart of Sri Narendra Modi from the perspective of is there any danger this year? So let us look at 2023. Tajaka chart is still running because he was born in September. So it is still September 2024. So if you look at the Tajaka chart, you see that in the Rasi chart, the 7th Lord Jupiter is having Guru Chandala Yoga. So there is some, the 7th Lord is basically a Marka, so there is a Guru Chandala Yoga involving him. But the thing is, the Lagna Lord Mercury is strong in the 3rd house, and there is a Raj Yoga between Saturn and Mercury, and 8th house is not really afflicted or anything. So there aren't any serious Marka combinations here. So I don't really think there is a big danger to him. One thing is, his Lagna is, if you look at his natal chart, Lagna is Libra, and around April 8th, at the time of Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, there will be 4 planets in the 8th house, and also there will be a complete solar eclipse, total solar eclipse in Pisces. So that is the sixth house of enemies and accidents, etc. So there is some potential for some disturbance to him. But the thing is, given that the Tajka chart is pretty strong, let us compare with the Tithi Pravesh chart also. If you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart, here 7th house is strong and second lord Mercury is in Lagna. So second and seventh lords are basically having Samsaptaka. 8th lord Guru is with the 7th lord Rahu, Guru Chandala Yoga. So this is actually a little worse than the other chart. So overall there are some troublesome indications, but the thing is there is also a nice Raj Yoga. Lagna Lord Sun is in a friendly house. Actually there is a Parivartana. So both Mercury and Sun will act as though they are in one houses. So Lagna Lord is effectively in one house and he is conjoining Yokarka Mars. So there is enough strength in the Lagna and Lagna Lord. So there may be some setbacks or some attempts by his enemies to hurt him in the April time frame. But the thing is, I don't think it is something to be too worried about. It is something he will easily overcome. Now let us look at before we go back to Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi charts and look at the 2024 April, May, June elections, let us look at the US election. So let us look at first, let's look at Vivek Ramaswamy chart, because a lot of Indian friends are very, very interested in this person, this gentleman. Vivek Ramaswamy is a very young politician. He's actually not a politician, but a young man interested in serving the country, and he was a Republican candidate. So I think in one of the videos or maybe tweets, I mentioned that his peak was August, September and maybe October, and then onwards he will slow down, and especially after the primary start in January, I said he will just fizzle away, and that is indeed what happened. After the first primary in Iowa, he dropped out. But the interesting thing is, because it looks like Donald Trump may be the Republican nominee, he's the presumptive nominee really. He seems to have it very easy with the Republican base that votes in the primaries. So because Vivek Ramaswamy endorsed him and appeared in one campaign event, there was speculation among Indians in US that Vivek Ramaswamy will be picked as the vice presidential candidate. So let us look at his chart, his potential. By the way, if you see the Rasi chart, you see that the 8th house is very prominent. There are nice Rajogas, 7th Lord, 9th Lord and 5th Lord together in the 8th house. So he's a gambler. He's a big, huge risk taker, but it's a nice Rajoga, 5th, 9th and 7th Lords and 10th Lord. So 9th, 10th, 7th and 5th Lords together, but in the 8th house. So first of all, he is hardworking. Second of all, he's a gambler. He's a risk taker. So big risk taker. So anyway, let us look at the Dasamsa chart, because that is the chart of career and profession. So you see that the Lagna contains Mars and Saturn. So that's not really a great combination, but that's a Rajyoga. Mars is Yokarka, 10th and 5th Lord. Saturn is 7th Lord. So 7th and 5th Lords together is a Rajyoga. It's a Rajyoga. And also second house contains Lagna Lord Moon in a friendly side, and Guru aspects him. So he is very eloquent in his public life. Interestingly, Sun is in the 10th house. If you look at the 10th house of career, Sun is in the 10th house. Though he is accompanied by Mercury and Ketu, Ketu is the 5th Lord. So Sun with the 5th Lord in the 10th house is not bad for political power. So there is potential for political power. But if you look at the dasas, the best dasa in his chart is Lagna is in Surya Hora from Sun, Moon is in the first half. So Shorsvatri dasa will dominate, and Jupiter is not in Gandanta or something. Yeah, he's at 22 degrees. So Shorsvatri dasa is the best dasa in his dasamsa. So if you see the Shorsvatri dasa of dasamsa, he is running Moon dasa for the last 9 years or so, and I believe this has been a great dasa for him. Why? Because Moon is the Lagna Lord, and he is the dispositor of this Rajoga between Yokarka and the 7th Lord. So Moon is a pretty good planet for him. So, But the thing is, Moon is in the second house. Moon is not really showing political power here. So Moon is a planet of wealth. So he accumulated. He was a businessman. He was a CEO. He accumulated a lot of money in this dasha, especially particularly in the pharmaceutical industry. And Moon can show pharmaceutical industry, Sun and Moon. So this is a dasha that is good for wealth, but I'm afraid this doesn't really show political power. And to confirm, let us look at the coming 2024 Tajaka chart, because the Republican National Convention, where the presidential and vice presidential candidate are announced and they basically are nominated officially, is mid-August. I think August 50, between August 3rd week, I think, sometime in the 3rd week. So, and elections are in November 2024. So let us look at the Tajaka chart of 2024 from August 9, 2024. So if you look at this chart, you see that in the Dasyamsha chart, the Lagna is Sagittarius, and the 5th Lord Mars and the 10th and the 9th Lord Sun are together. Sun is exalted and Mars is in Mulatrikona, but the thing is they are afflicted by Rahu. And if we, oh, by the way, if you look at the longitudes, actually Sun and Mars are far away, so it's not really like a Raj Yoga bit. It's not like a yoga between them. Sun is at 28 degrees and Mars is at 8 degrees. So there's not really a strong combination yoga between them. And Mars is closely afflicted by Rahu within a few degrees. So there is a Kujastambhana happening there. And also Shani, he's not an auspicious planet. He's the 2nd and 3rd Lord and Maraka. He's afflicting this combination. So there is Saturn is aspecting Mars by 2 degrees. So the Saturn Rahu affliction of Mars, the 5th Lord, is not really conducive. Moreover, the 10th Lord Mercury is in the 12th house, showing some kind of loss in career. And Lagna is afflicted by the 6th Lord Venus. So that is also, the Lagna is weak. So it doesn't seem, just for confirmation, there are some positives, but overall, in my opinion, negatives dominate. Let us confirm with the Tithi Pravesh chart. If you see the Tithi Pravesh chart, you see that 8th Lord is in the Lagna, Lagna Lord is in the 8th house. So it's not really that auspicious. So there are some nice yogas also here, but the negative things dominate more. And even though there is a nice combination in the 5th house, actually, by the way, this is not really a Raj Yoga. This is 7th Lord and 4th Lord together in the 5th. So it's not really a Raj Yoga. The 5th Lord is in the 6th house, basically the Markasthana from the 5th house. So it's not really showing strong indications of power. In any case, Lagna is 29 degrees Aquarius. So in other words, with 2 minutes error in the time, Lagna will change. So let's not rely on it. So let's rely more on the Tajaka chart. And that chart, as we discussed, it has some interesting signs, but the afflictions outweigh the positives. So he may get some prominence, for example, during the Republican National Convention, and he may appear on some campaign events, etc. But I don't expect that he will be the vice presidential nominee of Donald Trump, or whoever is the Republican presidential nominee. Now let us look at the chart of Donald Trump. If we see his Tajaka chart, the current year Tajaka chart, 2023-24, it will end in June. So the election and the Republican convention will happen in the next year. We look at 2024 also, but let us look at 2023 first. So if you look at the 2023 Tajaka chart, you will see that 1 minute earlier, if the time is 1 minute earlier, Lagna will change. So this may or may not be reliable. So let us look at the Tithi Pravesh chart instead. Sorry, 2023. If you see this chart, you see that Yokaraka Mars The ninth lord and fourth lord is in Lagna. And Lagna lord sun is in the fifth house of power. But the thing is that sun is aspected by, is conjoining Mercury, he is with Ketu, and is aspected by Saturn and Rahu. But the thing is, Saturn and Rahu are the seventh lords, Ketu is the fourth lord. So seventh lord and fourth lord being with or in Samsaptaka with the Lagna lord is a Rajoga. So it's actually not too bad. And if you look at the longitudes, sun is in Gandanta, 1.5 degrees Sagittarius. And you see that Ketu is far away, so that yoga is not there. Saturn is also far away. Mercury is also far away. So sun is really alone. So ignore all the yogas. Lagna Lord is in the fifth house of power. Actually, is he in the fifth house? He is exactly in the fifth house because Lagna is at 6 degree, sun is at 1 degree. So he is close to the 5 degrees from the cusp of the fifth house of power. So that is good. And also the Lagna, Yokarka, Mars and fifth lord Jupiter are together. But the thing is, what are the longitudes? Mars is at 27 degree Leo, Jupiter is at 16 degree Virgo. So there is a lot of distance between them. So that's not important. But the thing is, the fact is, the Yokarka is in Yokarka, 10th lord Venus. Let's see the longitude of Venus. Venus is at 8 degree Pisces, Jupiter at 16 degree, so that's basically close enough. And even Mars at 26 Leo, this is basically like 12 degrees. So Mars, Samsaptaka with Venus is within 11 degrees. So it's not that interesting, but Jupiter, Venus, Samsaptaka is pretty strong. So Venus is the 10th lord and Jupiter is the 5th lord. So 5th and 10th lord Samsaptaka on the 8th house axis. So there are some positives in this chart. But the thing is, 10th lord is in the 8th house, showing some kind of break in career or some disappointment in career, and the 12th lord of loss or giving up is in the 10th house but exalted. So in relating to work, he may have to give up something or make some compromise. So this is basically the overall thing that you see. Let us look at what is the best dasa. See, Mercury and Jupiter have a parivartana, so they act as though they are in one sign. So Shorashotri dasa and Shatrimsa dasa will apply. And Lagna is at 6 degree Leo, so it's in Surya Hora. And from Sun, Lagna is in the second half, but Moon is in the first half. So Shodashotri applies. Shatrimsa Samadasa doesn't apply. So looking at the Shodashotri Dasa of Dasamsa, he is right now running Ketu Dasa. Ketu is the fourth lord in the sixth house. I mean, Bhava wise. Ketu in the sixth house is good for vanquishing enemies, destroying enemies. So during this time, he won a bunch of primaries. On February 24, there is South Carolina primary, and after that there are a bunch of other primaries. And Moon Dasa, if you look at it, Moon is exalted in the 10th house of career, but he is the 12th lord. 12th lord's agenda is to make some compromises, face some losses, etc. So I'm afraid this is not really a good period for him. So it will not be surprising if he loses some primaries during this period, or Nikki Haley makes some progress at his expense. So this is basically March and February are slightly problematic for him. And one more thing to note is the 4-planet combination here, at the time of total solar eclipse in Pisces, happens to be in the 8th house from his natal Lagna. So that's not really a great thing for him. So April first week, second week, third week, etc. That is a problematic time for him, particularly around that eclipse, which is around April 8th or April 9, is not a great time for him. So though he seems like the nominee, there may be some setbacks to him. And particularly, let us look at next year's chart, 2024 Tajka chart. We can also look at Teja Pravesh, but let's look at Tajka chart first. If you see the Tajka chart, you may think that, Saturn in the 9th house, in own house, in Moola Trikona is very strong. So there is some protection. But the thing is, you may think that Venus, the 5th lord of power, is in the Lagna, which is good. But the thing is, look at the Bhava Chakra. Venus, the 5th lord of power, is actually in the 12th house of loss and setbacks. And there are 4 planets in the 12th house. 12th house is also the house of bandhana. It is the house of imprisonment or losses, etc., or leaving the country. So this is basically the 12th house is very strong. Lagna Lord is in the 12th house, Mercury, and the 12th Lord Venus is also in the 12th house. And third Lord of initiative, Sun, he is in the 12th house of giving up. He is in Manakarka Sthana, he is in Bandhana Sthana. So, and 10th Lord of career, Jupiter is also in the 12th house. So, I'm afraid this is a year, even if he wins all the primaries in March, April, and he basically runs away with the nomination, after his birthday, just before the Republican National Convention, there may be some setbacks. And the strong 12th house strongly suggests that he may face some losses. If you look at the current situation, he lost a few civil cases, not criminal cases, and more than $500 million he has to pay in various fines, etc. But the thing is, there are a lot more civil cases in the pipeline from January 6. People who were affected by January 6, they are basically suing him for inciting the mob on January 6, and there will be a lot of civil cases. In addition, there are criminal cases. There are, I think, 4 different criminal pursuits against him and probably some 80 plus counts. So he was indicted on those, and not all those trials will happen this year, but one was announced already. The weakest of them was announced to start on March 25, but it is possible if the Supreme Court doesn't basically take the appeal about his presidential immunity, it's possible that the January 6 case, criminal case by the Department of Justice may happen in this time frame, in the April, May, June time frame. So after June 13, there is a strong chance that there will be a conviction. So far it was just indictment. He's indicted, but there can be a conviction at which stage he's a convicted criminal. So that's very likely in the year between June 2024 and June 2025. So let us look at the dasas of the dasamsa of the Rasi first. What is the best dasa in this Rasi chart? I think it's just Mars is in one side. Does Ashtotri apply from Lagna Lord Mercury? Rahu is not in Kendra or Kona. Looking at longitude. Okay, so it is just Vimshotri, and it's not even Tara dasa, just plain Vimshotri. So if you look at look at the Vimshotri dasa, you see that Venus dasa runs from birthday till July 7, from June 13 till July 7, and Venus is the 5th lord of power, but in the 12th house. So this is not really a great period, but more importantly, Sun, the planet of third house. Third house is initiative, drive. So he's in Manakarka Sthana in the 12th house of giving up. So this is a period when he may give up. He may lose some of his courage and bravado. So make some compromises. And if you look at Moon Dasa, Moon is actually a Marka. He's the second lord in the third house. So second lord in the third house is a Marka, and he's in Samsaptaka with Saturn. So that is Shani Chandra Yoga. I'm not sure how close. Moon at 21 degrees, Saturn at 26 degrees. So it is 4.5 degrees. So it's pretty close. So this Moon Dasa is a problematic Dasa. Unfortunately for him, the Republican National Convention happens during that period, and this is not really a great period in the Rasi chart. So let us look at elections. Elections happen during the Rahu period. Rahu is the 9th lord in the 10th house. This is a pretty decent period. So the fact that Moon period happens during the Republican National Convention suggests that he may decide to step down during the Sun Dasa and nominate somebody else on his behalf, which he is allowed to do. Let us look at the Dasamsa chart. If you look at the Dasamsa chart, you will see that Lagna is afflicted by 8th lord and 6th lord, Sun and Mercury, and also Jupiter, the 3rd and 12th lord. So basically 6th lord, 8th lord and 12th lord, all 3 Dusthana lords are on the Lagna axis. And Venus, the Yokaraka, by the way, the saving grace is Saturn. He is the Lagna lord, he is in exaltation, and house-wise he is probably in the, he is in the 11th house. So Lagna lord is in the 10th, is in the 11th house. Sorry, I meant to do Bhavachakra. Bhavachakra based on Dasamsa. So, first of all, Lagna is pretty weak, but Lagna Lord is strong. And the planet that shows power, Venus, you may think that he is in Manakarka Sthana, but the thing is, he is actually in the 7th house. And if you look at the longitudes, Lagna is at 4 degree Capricorn, Venus is at 22 degree, 23 degree Gemini. So basically he is not close to the 7th house cusp, he is basically 11 degrees away. So he is not that strongly influencing the 7th house. He is basically in between 6th and 7th houses, but closer to the 7th house. So he is not particularly strong. He is, as a matter of fact, Mercury is far away from him. So he is, if you look at the dignities, he is in a neutral house, a compound neutral house. Based on compound relationship, he is in a neutral house. So Saturn and Venus are the saving grace. Otherwise, Lagna is really beaten down. And there are some strengths in the chart, but it's not strong enough to show that he'll become the president. And Rasi chart is not really strong at all. And if you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of 2024, you will see that the 7th lord and 8th lord are together in the 8th house, and 10th lord is also in the 8th house. So basically there are some other positives, but overall from a negative perspective, 9th, and let's look at the longitude, 8 degree sun, Mercury 16 degrees, so close enough, Venus 12 degree, he is in between. Okay, so 10th lord is afflicted by 7th lord and 8th lord. So there is a Marka combination, and 10th lord is afflicted by it. So it's not really it doesn't really show political power. And the 5th house of power is afflicted by Rahu, who is basically the 12th lord from it, which means the lord of the house of loss of power. So this is not really a very promising chart, just like the Tajaka chart. And if you look at the Dasamsha, in the Dasamsha chart, the Lagna lord is okay. He's in a neutral sign, but the 5th lord of power moon is in the 12th house. He's with Rahu, but there is a lot of distance, 2 degrees and 18 degrees, so 16 degree distance. So this affliction is not important, but he's in an inimical sign in the 12th house of loss. So moreover, taking the 5th house as Lagna, his lord is in Manakarka Sthana from it. So it's not really conducive. And again, Mars and Mercury Parivartana is a nice Raj Yoga. Jupiter is, though doesn't take part in any yogas, he's reasonably okay. But the thing is, the weakness of the 5th house, and overall the fact that there aren't strong power indicators in the chart suggests that Donald Trump will not become the president in November 2024. He will not be elected in November 2024. He will not be inaugurated in January 2025. And what's more, in August 2024, he may not even be nominated as the presidential candidate. He may pick somebody else to run on his behalf, or somebody else may win. Or if he wins, he may pick somebody else to run on his behalf. He may realize that he's a good candidate in the primaries, Republican primaries, but he is not a strong candidate in the general election. When independents also vote, America is basically like 30% or 35% Democrats, 30 to 35% Republicans, and 30 to 40% independents, and they can swing. So, and he wasn't popular with them. He lost by 7.5 million votes in the last election. So he's a reasonably smart man, irrespective of how he speaks publicly. So he may back off, and also there may be some circumstances. So he may back off, and even if he doesn't back off and runs in November, I suspect that he will lose in November 2024. And let us look at, actually, you know what, Nikki Haley's chart, I won't show it because I was given the chart with a request to keep it confidential, so I'll keep the birth data confidential. But one thing I can say is, in her 2025 Tajaka chart, which happens on January 19, 2025, one day before taking oath, inauguration, Lagna is Libra, and Saturn and Venus are in the 5th house. So Lagna Lord and the fifth Lord together in the fifth house. So there is some nice combinations, but overall, if you look at the current year chart, it's not that great. There is some promise in the chart, so it is possible that I don't think South Carolina primary on February 24 she will win, because that day is okay for her, not a great day, but she may have a good performance. But more importantly, on March 5, Super Tuesday, she may win a state or two to keep herself alive. And she may give a fight to Trump. But the thing is, I'm afraid Trump's real fall starts in the May-June time period, April-May-June time period. And it may be too late for Nikki Haley to hang in. So Trump may clinch the nomination. But the thing is, Nikki Haley has some positives in the chart. So I will not be surprised if Nikki Haley actually beats Trump in the primary, comes from behind and gets the nomination, or Trump nominates somebody else as the nominee. But the bottom line is, I don't think Trump will win in November 2024. And Nikki Haley has some potential, but not really very strong. And let us look at the charts of Democratic candidates. Joe Biden first. So I looked at 2022 November. I basically expected it to be a terrible year for him. I forget you see moon in 8th, moon Lagna Lord in debility, if Marka combination in the 3rd house, moon and Jupiter in the 8th house, and even Tajka chart of 2022 was pretty bad. So 2022 November time frame, when there was a major eclipse close to some key longitudes, I forget the details now, I was expecting some major setbacks for him, serious health problems. He seems to have survived it. So I basically downplayed the chances of Biden to be re-elected in 2024, because I thought the 2022-23 period is very difficult to survive. And looks like nothing really happened to him, or we don't know, something may have happened and we may not really know all that. They may have kept all that secret, because there is some clear deterioration in his overall state if you look at him these days over the last year or so. But the bottom line is, now that he survived that period and he's still running, let us look at his 2023 Jataka chart. Because the election happens in this before November 20, it's on November 5, I believe. If you look at the Tajka chart, and let's look at the Bhavachakra of the Rasi chart. Fifth Lord Jupiter is in the 9th house and aspects the 5th house, and there is Guru Chandala Yoga. But the thing is, there is 14 degrees gap between Jupiter and Rahu, so it's not that strong. And secondly, Sun and Mars are together. How close are they? Very close. 4.5 degree and 4 degree. So within half degree, Lagna Lord Sun and Yokarka Mars, 9th Lord and 4th Lord, are together in the 4th house. And Mercury is away from them. He is like 18 degrees away. So Mercury is practically not with them. In Bhavachakra, he is actually in the 5th house. So Raj Yoga between Lagna Lord and 9th Lord and 5th Lord aspecting the 5th house from a friendly sign. This is a good combination for him. There is Shani Chandra Yoga, but the thing, you know what? This Lagna is very close to a border. 2.5 minutes, if the error is more than 2.5 minutes, it will change. So this may or may not be correct. But if it is correct, you see that there is also Lagna Lord, 5th Lord and 9th Lord Samsaptaka on the 8th house axis. So unexpected great luck. That's basically what you can say. But this is unreliable. Let us focus on the 2023 chart and rely on that. Okay, if you look at this chart, you will see that in the Rasi chart, though Lagna is blessed by the 9th Lord, there is a Guru Chandala Yoga and Gajkesari Yoga in the 8th house. Moon at 13 degrees, Jupiter at 14 degrees, very close. Rahu is far away. So this is effectively Gajkesari Yoga, not really Guru Chandala Yoga. there is a Gajgesar Yoga in the 8th house. So that is actually not too bad, but Jupiter is the Maraka, 7th Lord in the 8th. So it's not good for his physical well-being, etc. But the thing is, assuming that he basically, his health is fine, etc. Let us look at the Dasyamsa. If you look at the Dasyamsa, Saturn and Rahu are in the 6th house, which is not bad. Venus is the 7th Lord in the 8th house, which is a Maraka combination. That's not good. But let us make the Bhavachakra. But the main thing is, there is a samsattva between this Gajgesar Yoga and Mars. Let us look at the longitudes to make sure they are not too far. Moon at 11 degree Leo, Mars at 14 degree Aquarius, Jupiter at 26 degree Leo. So Jupiter is far away. He's not too far away from Mars. So Mars Jupiter Yoga Samsaptaka is still a decent yoga, but Moon Jupiter is not that strong. So Mars has Rajogas with Jupiter and with Moon. So 9th Lord and Lagna Lord, and Lagna Lord and 5th Lord. So there are Rajogas between them. Particularly Lagna Lord and 9th Lord are very close by, and this happens on the 10th house axis. So this is not really conducive for losing power during the year. So even though there is a Maraka combination in the Dasyamsa chart, the Lagna itself and the 5th house itself are strong, and the 10th house is also pretty strong. So this is actually suggesting that he may win re-election. At this stage, it looks like he may not even be a viable candidate. There is panic in the Democratic circles, as far as I know, going by the news. There is panic in the Democratic circles, especially after the special counsel report about his mental state and his poor memory, basically calling him an well-meaning and elderly gentleman with poor memory. So that basically can badly hurt him politically. So it seems like he is not even a viable candidate, but based on the Tithi Pravesh chart, there is a good chance that he may be re-elected. And let us look at Kamala Harris chart to confirm, assuming that he will pick her again as the running mate. By the way, there is some speculation in the Democratic circles that they may dump Biden and they may go for a dark knight like Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, etc. I don't have Michelle Obama's chart. Gavin Newsom's chart I have. I discussed it in the past about his re-election as governor of California. I don't see potential in his chart to be president this year. So I don't think it's Gavin Newsom. Michelle Obama maybe. But the thing is, the fact that Biden's chart has potential suggests to me that all those plans will be dropped. They will stick with him and he will actually deliver the goods. But let us confirm with Kamala Harris chart. If you look at the chart of Kamala Harris, forget about the current year. Let us look at election time. 2024 Tithi Pravesh chart. Because she was born on October 20. So October 17 is when the new year starts, and November 5 is the election, and January is the inauguration. So if you look at this Dasyamsa, if you look at this Rasi chart, you see that the 5th Lord Jupiter is in 10th house, 10th Lord Venus is in 4th house. There is Samsaptaka. But the thing is, they're far away, 28 degree and 6 degree. So there's not really a good Raj Yoga between Venus and Jupiter here. But let us look at the Dasyamsa chart. If you look at the Dasyamsa chart, Lagna Lord aspects the 5th house but in debility. But 9th Lord is in Adhimitra Rasi in the Lagna, and 5th Lord Moon is afflicted by Rahu. And how close is it? It is actually very close. So 5th Lord Moon is afflicted by Rahu. So this is the Tithi Pravesh chart. Now let us look at the Tajka chart. So it is actually pretty weak. So if you look at the Tajka chart, you will see that Lagna Lord is in the 9th house. Let's make the Bhavachakra of the Rasi chart. So Lagna Lord is in the 9th house, and 7th Lord Venus is in Lagna. 9th Lord and 5th Lord are in the 7th house. So if you look at the longitudes, Moon at 20 degrees, Jupiter at 28 degrees, Venus is at 10 degrees. So Venus Moon Samsaptaka is within 9 degrees. But the thing is, The yoga between Moon and Jupiter is within 8 degrees. Okay, so there is a decent Raj Yoga between 7th Lord, 9th Lord, and 5th Lord, and Lagna Lord is also in the 9th house. So this is a pretty positive chart. And if you look at the Dasyamsha chart, in the Dasyamsha chart, you will see that the 5th Lord Venus is in Lagna, but Lagna Lord Saturn is in the 8th house. And okay, so you see there aren't any strong combinations here that suggest keeping power. And if you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart also, did I look at the right year? Yes, I did. If you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart also, you see that 5th Lord is afflicted by 12th Lord Rahu, eclipsed by him. So there is a Marka combination in the 12th house. So though there are some positives, the negative seems to outweigh. So Joe Biden chart has a strong chance of re-election, and Kamala Harris chart is not really that strong. So one possibility is Joe Biden may drop Kamala Harris and find somebody else as the running mate, and he may. But the thing is, there are some risks. If you drop your running mate in the second term, there are some risks. You may alienate certain part of the electorate. So people who like her. So he needs to find somebody who will be acceptable to the part of the electorate that Kamala Harris appeals to. So not sure who that can be or will be or would be. But one possibility is Kamala Harris may be dropped and Joe Biden may go with somebody else. The other thing is, it is also possible that because we don't see if that is not likely, if Kamala Harris cannot be dropped by Joe Biden, maybe the strength of Joe Biden's chart that we saw in the Tithi Pravesh chart, if you remember, Tajka chart was on the border. So it is definitely stronger than Trump's chart, but if there is somebody else who has even stronger combination, that may outweigh. So it is possible that somebody other than Biden or Trump will become the president. But out of the charts that I have right here, Biden seems to be the most likely candidate, and doesn't seem like Kamala Harris will be his running mate. So that's basically what I can say at this point of time as far as US is concerned. Now let us look at the chart of Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. If you look at Narendra Modi's chart, if you look at 2023, first let us look at Tajka chart. If you look at 2023 Tajka chart, I said earlier in 2021 or so that 2022 to 2023 will have some setbacks. Between September 2022 and September 2023 there will be some setbacks, but after September 2023 it will be great time. Indeed, the Karnataka was last in the bad year, and after the good year started, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh were won. But the thing is, what I realized at that time, I thought this is a superb chart, but when I took a closer look at it, what I see is, let us look at the first of all, let us look at the Dasyamsha Chakra directly instead of looking at the Rasi Chakra, or let's look at the Rasi Chakra. If you look at the Rasi Chakra, Mercury at 15 degree and Saturn at 9 degree. So there is a Raj Yoga between Lagna Lord and 9th Lord on the 9th house axis. So that is a powerful yoga. And Jupiter Rahu combination also is actually a yoga, 9th and 10th Lord. Oh, actually 1 degree and 22 degree. So ignore it. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is mainly the yoga here. And the 5th Lord, the 5th house contains Ketu, who's basically the 6th Lord of loss of death of power. So this is not really, Ketu in 5th is not conducive to keeping power. But 5th Lord he's not strong, but he's not weak either. So Rasi is, there are some good things, but also there are some bad things. Let us look at the Dasyamsha. What I looked at earlier was this yoga between Saturn and Venus, Lagna Lord and Yokarka together. So that is basically what I went by earlier when I said this is a great year. I think that's still a good yoga, but the thing is, if you look at the longitudes, Venus at 19 degree Taurus, Saturn at only 3 degree Taurus. So there is like 16 degree gap. So it's not really, they don't really have a yoga there. They are basically far away. And if you look at the Bhavachakra, it seems like they are in the same house. They are, but there is a 16-degree gap between them. So there is the fourth lord Venus in the fourth house, or the ninth lord Venus in one house in the fourth house is strong. So Venus is a good planet, and Saturn is in a friendly house. But the thing is, there is no yoga between them. That's the bottom line. And more importantly, the fifth lord Mercury of power, he is in the 12th house of loss. So there is some negative here also. There are some positives, but there are also some negatives in this chart, in this Dasamsa chart. And if you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of 2023 again, you will see that here, okay, it will seem like Venus and Saturn are in different houses, but if you look at the longitudes, Venus is at 29 degree Aries and Sun is at 0 degree 6 minutes Taurus. So like less than about a degree is the gap between them. So Saturn and Venus are actually in the fifth house and they are within 1 degree. So this is actually, compared to Tajaka, this is a much more powerful yoga. So Lagna, Yokaraka, fifth lord, 10th lord and Lagna lord, fame, career and self. So the combination of them in the fifth house of power, this is a strong combination. Now this is weak. 6th, 7th and 8th lords together in the Lagna. This is a bad yoga in the Lagna, but the thing is, this is strong enough. This is very powerful. So, and also if you look here, the Lagna Lord Sun, oh by the way, this is not strong. Sun is at 5 degree, Mars is at 23 degree. So there is not really this Mars Sun combination is not really a Raj Yoga. Okay, so let's ignore that. And the fifth lord Jupiter, he is with Rahu, but there is a 20 degree gap. So Jupiter is alone practically. So fifth lord aspecting the fifth house unafflicted. And okay, so that thus conducive to keeping power. And the Lagna lord, there is a exchange between Mercury and Sun. So Lagna lord will act as though he is in one house. So Lagna lord is pretty strong. He has no yoga with Mars, but he is strong. He is alone there in the second house. So this is a pretty decent chart, but Dasamsa is pretty strong. So overall, combining that Tajaka and Tithi Pravesh, this is a pretty positive chance. But the thing is, this does not show like super success, like getting 400 seats and all that the hype on social media is in the on the campaign front is. So this is a good year, but not a superb year of amazing success. But having said that, I should say that some good remedies were done by them. Like for example, Ayodhya Ram Temple after 500 years starting, that's a good remedy, good upaya. So that can help. But overall, astrologically, I won't expect a grand success like 400 seats. Let us look at the chart of Rahul Gandhi. This is the data I use based on the hospital record. So if you look at the Tajaka chart of June 19, so the results will come before that, very likely. So let us look at the 2023 chart. Very similar to the other chart. Lagna is Leo, but Lagna is in Gandanta. So 2 minutes 44 seconds earlier, Lagna will change. Let's assume that that window is long enough. So Lagna in Gandanta is not a good thing. And on the positive side, there is a yoga between Venus and Mars. How close is it? Pretty close, 19 degree, 24 degree. So 10th and 9th lords together, but they are in the 12th house of loss. And 5th lord Jupiter is aspecting the 5th house. And how close are they? In this case, actually they are close. 10 degrees and 14 degrees. So within 4.5 degrees. So there is a Guru Chandala Yoga here. So unlike in the other charts that we saw, there is a Guru Chandala Yoga involving the 5th lord. So that is weak. And 10th lord in the 12th house is also a weakness. So there are some weaknesses here. And let us look at the Dasamsa chart. If you see the Dasamsa chart, first house contains the 5th lord Jupiter. Of course, he is also the 8th lord, but he is also the 5th lord. And he is in Adhimitra Rasi. He is very strong. 16 degrees and 6 degrees. So 10 degrees away from Lagna. Not too far, but not too close either. But more importantly, the Lagna lord, Oh, actually, no, no. I was looking at Lagna is at 6 degrees. Jupiter is at 20 degree 44 minutes. So he's not that close to the first house cusp. He is between the first house and second house transition. So but the thing is he's strong. Fifth lord is strong, and the ninth lord is in the 10th house Mars, longitude wise, which is good. And is there a yoga between Mars and Moon? Because they seem to have some samsaptaka here. Let us see. Moon is at 8 degree, Mars is at 28 degree. No. 8 degrees Scorpio and 28 degree. So basically samsaptaka is within 10 degrees. So that's a decent samsaptaka. So there is a decent yoga between Mars and Moon, the Lagna Lord and the Yokaraka. But Lagna Lord is in Manakarka Sthana, afflicted by Rahu. So Lagna Lord Sun is within 11 degrees. So not too close, but there is some affliction from Rahu. But Lagna Lord is in the 12th house of giving up Manakarka Sthana. So there is some weakness. So this chart is pretty weak. And if you look at the, Tithi Pravesh chart of 2023, we looked at Tajaka. Now let us look at Tithi Pravesh. In this chart, you will see that the fifth lord Saturn is in the fifth house. So that's pretty strong. And the ninth lord Mercury is in the ninth house. That's pretty strong too. And if you look at the Dashamsha, which is more important, Lagna lord is in the 10th house alone. Fifth lord Jupiter is aspecting the fifth house. And Venus, the 7th lord, is in Samsaptaka from him. Let's look at the longitudes. Jupiter at 16 degree, Venus at 8 degree. So within 8 degrees, there is a Samsaptaka between Venus and Jupiter, the 7th lord and the 5th lord. That's a Rajoga. So this is actually a stronger chart than the Tajaka chart. So if you combine Tajaka and Tithi Pravesh, both are pretty comparable actually. There is some strength in this chart. So, but the thing is, looking at the natal dasa, etc., we expect that Rahul Gandhi is unlikely to become Prime Minister of India. So, it is likely that BJP and their alliance, the NDA alliance of BJP, will win the election. But the thing is, the margin may not be as huge as many of BJP supporters are expecting at this point of time. It may actually be a lot closer election than people are expecting. So this is why I suggested that Congress should not give up and they should fight hard. And from BJP's perspective, they should not become complacent and let a repeat of 2004 happen at a critical crossroads for the country. They should basically take it very seriously and fight hard. So these are some of the astrological reasonings behind some of the things that I said earlier. Thank you very much. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavad Bhumandale Sanatana Dharmo Vardhatu Visheshatah Bhartakhande America Avashe Tibet Rashtre Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.